Today, we're going to talk about something that's really profound and, honestly, often hidden. It's the invisible grief of a lost childhood. We're diving into the story of kids who had to become adults way too soon. It's a journey that usually starts quietly, but it has some really loud echoes in adult life.
Have you ever heard that? Or maybe even said it about a child? On the surface, it sounds like the highest praise, right? A testament to how resilient a kid is. But so often these words mask a silent burden, a childhood that had to be sacrificed just to survive.
And that's the real question, isn't it? What is the true psychological price of all that strength? What happens when a child's job becomes holding the adult world together? Let's really break it down.
Okay, so to really get this, we have to go right back to the beginning. It starts in a home where, out of pure necessity, a child learns how to manage chaos. They don't choose this role. It's a role that chooses them, really, as a matter of survival.
I love this idea of an emotional thermostat, because that's exactly what it is. This isn't some conscious decision a kid makes. It's this deep, instinctual part of their brain that clicks on and says, okay, if I don't regulate the emotional temperature in here, no one will. It's a survival mechanism where, essentially, the child has to disappear to make room for an adult's needs.
Now, this caretaker role, it isn't just a behavior. It literally reshapes a developing brain. From a psychological standpoint, there are a couple of key terms that help us understand exactly what's happening on a deeper level. First up, we have what's called parentification. This is the clinical term for that complete, upside-down reversal of roles. The child who is supposed to be receiving care is now the one giving it. They become the family peacekeeper, the confidant, the emotional rock for the very people who were supposed to be theirs.
And that parentification, it leads directly to this next state, hypervigilance. I want you to imagine your nervous system being permanently stuck in the on position. You're constantly scanning the room, reading tiny facial expressions, trying to anticipate moods and conflicts before they even happen. Your brain basically learns that chaos is normal, and that peace actually feels suspicious or even dangerous.
So what happens when this hypervigilant child grows up? Well, that survival mode doesn't just switch off when they turn 18. It follows them, and it starts to shape their adult identity, and, maybe most tragically, their closest, most intimate relationships.
And this list it nails the adult symptoms. Overfunctioning. That's when you do way more than your share in a relationship because you feel responsible for everything. Struggling with boundaries, because saying no feels like you're letting someone down or even betraying them. Finding peace suspicious, because your nervous system is wired for a crisis. Apologizing for your own needs like crying. And oh, this last one is a big one. Confusing utter exhaustion with success, believing that burnout is the price you have to pay to be worthy. These aren't just personality quirks. They are the direct echoes of a childhood spent on high alert.
Man, that quote, it just cuts right to the heart of the relational wound. When your entire childhood was about being strong and in control, the vulnerability that real intimacy requires, what this calls softness, can feel absolutely terrifying. You just don't know how to receive care without feeling like it's a trap or a debt you have to repay immediately.
Now, it's so easy to look back with regret and ask, why did I do that? Why did I take on so much? But here's the thing you have to understand. It was never a conscious choice. It was a biological drive, and it's rooted in our deepest human need for connection.
So picture this impossible conflict happening inside a child. On one side, you have authenticity, the need to just be a kid, to have feelings, to be messy and vulnerable. And on the other, you have belonging, the non-negotiable biological need to attach to a caregiver in order to survive. And when a caregiver is unstable, the child will sacrifice their own authenticity every single time to keep that connection alive.
And that is the central paradox we have to wrap our heads around. The strategy was brilliant, it was smart, it kept you safe in an unsafe world. But that exact same survival strategy becomes a cage in adulthood. It prevents you from experiencing the safety, the rest, and the real connection you desperately crave now.
So how do we break free? The path forward, and this is so important, isn't about fixing yourself or trying to become a better person. It actually starts with something much more gentle and much more profound. Simply turning around and witnessing the child you had to leave behind.
The process kind of looks like this. First, you just witness the pain without judging it. You validate that it was that hard. Second, you start to ask that inner child, what did you need back then that you never got? Third, you allow yourself to actually grieve the loss of that childhood. And finally, you begin to give those things, that safety, that rest, that permission to feel,
to yourself right now.
I really want this to land. This work isn't about erasing your past or building a new identity out of thin air. It's a reclamation project. It's about gently peeling back all those layers of responsibility and forced strength to remember the authentic self that has been patiently waiting underneath it all.
And this brings us right to this moment. Your maturity, your strength, that was never the problem. The problem was that you had no choice but to develop it to survive. But now, as an adult, you do. You have a choice. You can choose softness. You can choose rest. You can choose to finally honor your own needs. The past is written, yeah, but your future is not. The choice is finally yours.